He never thought his laughter would echo like that. Sharp, cruel, impossible to take back. Look at those scars. She must have lost every fight she's ever been in. Private Cole's voice sliced through the air, loud enough for everyone in the training yard to hear. Recruits chuckled, their eyes flicking toward the woman standing by herself near the weapons rack. She didn't flinch. She didn't turn. She simply adjusted her gloves, the puckered skin on her forearms catching the morning light like twisted rivers of silver. The silence that followed was suffocating, not because anyone defended her, but because no one did. Her name was Lena Hart. No one called her that anymore. The scars stretched from her fingertips to her shoulders, creeping beneath the collar of her uniform like living shadows. New recruits whispered about them. Some claimed she'd been reckless. Others said she wasn't fit to train with them. Few dared speak to her, and those who did found her voice steady, her words few. Cole watched her, puffed up with false bravado, still smirking. To him, she was a relic, a warning. He was young, untouched by war, the kind who still thought of battle as a game. But what Cole didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Lena's silence wasn't weakness. It was the weight of memory. Years ago, Lena had walked the scorched streets of Marjo with a unit that never came home. The ambush had been swift. A child, no older than her nephew, had been forced to carry explosives in his backpack. Lena had spotted him too late. The blast seared through her squad, skin and steel tearing in tandem. She dragged her captain through burning rubble, choking on smoke thick as tar, ignoring the agony that peeled layers from her arms like bark from a tree. Her call sign then, Echo 6. The one who answers back when all others fall silent. But metals don't heal. They rust. And stories, when not told, collect dust in the corners of history. She returned, disfigured but alive, only to find a different kind of battlefield, the quiet war of being forgotten. Now, standing in the shadow of the barracks, she watched the recruits. Their bright eyes, their untested hands. And she said nothing. She never corrected them. She never explained. But the general was watching. General Stanton had seen Lena carry soldiers through gunfire, had seen her stand alone against decisions that left others paralyzed. He'd buried enough of his people to know the shape of silent valor. Stanton strode into the yard, boots biting into gravel. The recruits snapped to attention, except Cole, who still wore that crooked grin. Private Cole, Stanton began, his voice a blade sheathed in calm. You find those scars funny? Cole hesitated, realizing too late the pit he'd dug for himself. I didn't mean anything by it, sir. Didn't mean anything. Stanton's words hung like a low sky. Some scars aren't reminders of loss. Some are the reason others came home. The general turned to Lena. Report to the front, Echo 6. The yard fell silent, Cole's face drained of color. He knew that call sign. Everyone did. Echo 6 wasn't a person, it was a legend. The ghost soldier who saved an entire convoy in Marja. The one who vanished from the reports, leaving behind only fragments of stories traded between veterans like sacred relics. Lena walked forward, each step steady, each scar now blazing like the stripes of a tiger. She stopped inches from Cole. Scars. Don't mean I lost, she said, her voice quiet but sharp as shrapnel. They mean I survived what you can't imagine. Cole's throat bobbed. His smirk was gone. Stanton's gaze swept the silent crowd. Some of you fight for glory. Echo 6 fights for the ones who can't fight for themselves. Remember that. The recruits stood frozen, shame weighing their shoulders. Later, as the sun sank behind the barracks, Cole approached her, not with arrogance, but with trembling respect. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He simply said, I didn't know. Lena's eyes, stormy and distant, softened just enough. That's the problem with people who only see the skin. They rarely look deep enough to find the story. In the weeks that followed, the recruits no longer whispered. They watched. They listened. And when Lena trained, they trained harder, matching her silent discipline, not to impress, but to honor. Scars became their teachers. Some scars aren't wounds. They're stories that survive the fire. True strength speaks loudest when it chooses silence. When Lena left that base months later, the recruits lined up without command. No one said a word. They saluted her in absolute, reverent silence. Sometimes, the loudest respect is the one that leaves no sound behind. There are heroes whose names we chant, and there are those whose stories whisper beneath the skin. Remember to look beyond the surface. Sometimes, the quietest ones carry the heaviest battles. Comment below where you're watching from, and share your thoughts on Lena's story. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that honor the silent heroes among us.